So today we're in a dojo talking about why not to date in the dojo. His eyes.
Please enlighten us.
I think there are two important mindsets, one as a teenager and one as an adult. Most of you guys are probably like 16, 17 years old training martial arts at the dojo. And I think every teenager growing up in the dojo definitely had that like one crush or had girls that were trying to talk to you in the dojo, vice versa.
For sure. Everybody had a dojo crush.
Okay, so why is it bad to date as a teenager?
Okay. Everybody has two dojo crushes. You've got the one that's like a couple belts above you.
Yeah.
And then you've got the new white belt that you're like, please stick around. Please stick around.
That's true. I forgot about that.
There's always two dojo crushes.
So like as a teenager, I was the psychopath kid that like, there was definitely a few girls that were trying to talk to me at the dojo. I specifically remember one girl literally asked me out and I locked the door on her. Like I said,
in or out?
Out.
Okay.
So she was trying to come in talking to me and she like wanted to like go out with me and I kept telling her no. Mm-hmm. And I locked the door on her. And she's like screaming at me outside the door. You should see this like blonde girl. I'm like 16 and she's like 15 or 16. She's screaming at me. But I had specifically told her like I didn't like her like that. I already gave her that talk. And she's like, why? Like I just want to go out to like a date with you. And I was like, training is sacred. Training is sacred. She ended up moving to a different dojo.
You lose them every time, whether you date them or not.
I don't think I handled the situation well. I was like, nobody else matters except my training. I don't give a shit. I was kind of special in that way. So the real topic of this conversation is, as a teenager especially, I did not want to date in the dojo because I didn't want it to affect my training. I was told like the mentality of no sex, no drugs, no alcohol type of mindset when you're in your dojo. In other sports, a football player, if you play golf or basketball, your field of training may not be sacred ground for you. Like when you come to a karate school, a dojo, you're taught to bow on the mat. There's like a level of sacredness to the place. So it's like, that is like one of the places that's your temple that you don't have that relationship with. So I took that to heart. So no dating. I didn't even look at other girls. I did not care, just train. But I'm like, all I can think about sidekick while other girls are trying to talk to me, and I'm like, just make my back kicks better. I don't see anything else except my back kicks.
I think you're a rarity.
I don't think that's normal. Yeah, totally. Well, you guys remind me.
I'm in there like, oh shit, she's watching. I better kick extra hard. That helped my training.
I think that's normal. Nope, I'm special. I'm in my corner. But that's as a teenager. Things change when you become older. Not really.
Okay, you're right, because there is you as a student as you go through the dojo.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you become an adult or you start teaching.
Yeah.
It changes.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, the hormones are definitely way crazy. Even at 15 years old, my entire life was revolved around martial arts. So as teenagers, we would like all hang out after school. We would go to Steve's, get burgers, go and train, go to the movies next day, wake up, go training with like a group of people, right? So you like end up starting to catch feelings for all the people that you're constantly hanging out with. I think that's more common as a teenager. Whereas an adult, you don't really have the time to do that. That doesn't really happen. No?
Sure.
What about you as a teenager?
Like I said, me as a teenager, it was like,
give me a story. It was the hot mom that came in, huh?
I grew up, no, for me, my dojo was far away, so I lived far from everybody, so I couldn't just go out afterwards.
Yeah.
So the dojo was the only place I got.
Right.
To like see them, and that was my time. So it was more just crushes on them in the dojo.
So did you ever like try to talk to them, or you'd be like, oh, I just have a crush, but I'm not saying anything?
No, because like for us, it's like my grandfather owned the dojo, so if I'm taking him out, I'm in trouble. Okay, if we lose one to jiu-jitsu, I'm in trouble because I took her out and didn't call her again.
Right, family name cannot go out because of the business.
Yes.
So that was my mindset more as an adult. So it's like, when I think you're an adult, which you kind of didn't have that like high school experience then, huh? In
Yeah,
the
because
dojo.
for me it was like as a kid I was training in the dojo as the student life, and then once I got my driver's license,
that makes sense.
I was then traveling back down the train.
I actually have a funny story about the studio here. It's not a bad story, but it is pretty funny. I think I was like 19 or 20, but that's when I was like in the height of my training with Jeff, Mr. Wise,
Right,
Master Reed,
right.
Mitz, and I was like even more crazy about like not talking to other women. And like, you remember like when I was getting in the industry, I had all these fitness models trying to work with me. So at that time I had all of these like the top tier, like most beautiful women trying to work with us. I literally did not see anything but training. So like I didn't realize till a few years later where Johnny's like, bro, they were trying to talk to you. I'm like, no, they weren't. They're trying to train. He's like, not saying all of them were, but
I think he's messing with me like in the moment.
No,
was
I
like,
truly
bro,
only see training.
Don't act like that. Girls don't just go like, oh, can you show me how to back kick? Like that doesn't happen. Okay.
I'm like, yeah, all the time, man. So I show them how to back kick, and then that's it. And then if they try to invite me to their pool afterwards to hang out, I'm like, no, only training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, I won't say who it was. I'm not gonna name drop. But there was a person in this studio I talked to, and she was telling me, like, over lunch or whatever it was, I don't remember, but she was like, kind of in conversation that all of the other girls had talked to each other, and they weren't sure if I was gay. And I was like, what? Why do you think that? She's like, you literally don't acknowledge any of the girls in the dojo.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, you misunderstand. It has nothing to do with like I don't like you, because she thought I didn't like her, like as a person.
Right.
She's like, oh, like you've always been kind of standoffish, or like we weren't sure if you were gay, or we just didn't know what it was, because you come in and you're like here, and you don't acknowledge anything except Master Reed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, like you don't understand like samurai code. To me, this is sacred ground. I don't acknowledge men, women, or anything, only champions. That's it.
I feel like you're like, it's actually a compliment that I'm not talking to you because I feel like you could be a distraction.
It totally could go that way. Who knows? My time, especially in the dojo, because I live really far away, I have to drive an hour and a half to come here and train, right? So it's like my time here is really sacred to me, and it's a half day just to get out here, train, spend the whole day, right? So when I'm here, I'm like 120% so like spiritually focused on what's happening in my training. Where like you're so social and you like acknowledge everybody in the room constantly. But that can also get you into trouble.
And it has.
So to conclude, I feel like I don't know if anyone learned anything once again.
We didn't hit any of the topics we thought we were gonna hit. You were gonna talk about like stay focused. It's not good to intermingle because then it becomes
I've
awkward.
literally lived that life. I've literally lived the life of like, I'm completely focused. And even I'm so much better now. Like I'm more socially aware if somebody does like want to throw a pass at me. But at the end of the day, like I'm really, really dedicated to my craft, and not everybody is, and that's okay. But I feel like there should be a separation between the two worlds. It's never a good idea to date in the dojo, but if you do, have a good story. Post.